Hi everyone. Here, this video is about Numpy. So, Numpy is a new type of package which provides tools for scientific and mathematical computations in Python. You have already seen in my past videos about matplotlib, how the matplotlib library is used for creating plots using Python language. So here, the NumPy includes some of the functions that can be used to perform common linear algebra operations, fast Fourier transforms, and statistics. And NumPy, it uses a array data type that is conceptually similar to a list and consisting of an ordered set of elements of the same type. And here, you're always already familiar to array. So an array can be created using array function constructor from the NumPy package. Okay. And multidimensional arrays can also be created by specifying a list with a tuple for each dimensions elements. So let's start here with our code. Here I'm going to show you some portion of the code where we are going to create arrays. Um, so let's see. So first, in this statements, we are going to see how to create one-dimensional array, and these last three statements are for two-dimensional array creation. Okay, so let me run the code and let's see what output are we having. So importing the NumPy package and a temporary name is used NP. So using the array function of the NumPy class, we are going to add three elements into the list here and just trying to print it out. So this is a format of one-dimensional array. Okay. And if you want to create two-dimensional array, you have to do it in this way. So the NumPy library temporary name NP dot array function within it try to create the elements as per each row. So first row contains two elements, second row contains these two elements, total four elements, but the array is being constructed using multiple dimensions, and here it is two. So as you see, this is how the array will be created. So sometimes an array must be created before um, the element values are known, and changing the size of an array is an expensive computation. So NumPy provides functions that create empty pre-sized arrays. So here I've already added my code. Let's go through this portion of the code. Reinitialized arrays. So what does it mean? Let's say so before the element values are known, we want to create the array. So how to do it? There is one zeros function in the NumPy library which creates an array with a zero for every element. And the ones function, it uses one for every element while creating it. And the argument for zeros and ones function is a single dimension. First is the dimension argument, and second is the length of the array. That is a two tuple. So here it is two tuple, and here it is one dimensional array with five elements, and this is a five dimensional array with two elements in each dimension. So let's run the code. Okay, let's first go through the code here. So np is your temporary name. Using zeros function, we're going to create a single dimension with five elements and just trying to print it. Now we are creating five dimensional array, and it's two dimensions. So let me run the code to show how it is created. So for zeros 1 5, this is how array with five elements with all zeros in it, as the function we used is zeros. And ones here, but it's trying to do, it is trying to create one array with five rows, that is your five dimensions with uh, two rows, two columns in each dimension. So in each dimension it has two elements, In total 5 dimensions, or 5 rows are there in it. And as we have used the ones function, so that is why it is having all the ones in here. Okay, let me just comment it out. And now I'm going to show you another some set of functions that are basically used in Python. Okay, there is one space function in NumPy. So a common operation is to create a sequence of numbers like 0, 1, 2, and you can also use the range function. So within a specific range, if you want to access or create certain elements. So however, the range function always, um, you may have used the range function mostly in the for loop always, if you remember in Python. And the range function always creates sequences of integer only and cannot create general fractional values. That's basically impossible. So the linspace here, this is a NumPy function belong to the NumPy library, which creates a sequence by segmenting a given range with a specified number of points. So what is that? Let's take this example. Linspace 0, 1, 11. So it creates a sequence with 11 elements in it between 0, the starting point, and 1, that is the ending point. So if I'll run the code, you can see here from 0 to 1, it has included 10 elements in it. And let's say you want to create the elements, 5 elements in between 1 and 10. So there should be proper gap in between all the elements in the list. So as you see, there is a gap of 2.25 in between all the elements in the second list. 1, 3.25, then 5.5, 7.75, and then at last 10. This is your linspace function. Um, okay, well, so the major advantage of NumPy library, um, its main object is the homogeneous multidimensional array. So mostly we use the NumPy library for handling array operations. The array, again, what is that? It's a similar type of or collection of similar type of elements. So if a table of elements, usually a numbers, that is an array. So all of the same type indexed by a tuple of positive integers. So in NumPy, dimensions are called axes. So here one array is supposed to be created with these 4 elements, another one array with these 4 elements. Now we are going to create these 2 arrays, so with having all the elements in the array. And see here, if you want to perform certain operations using the NumPy library on multiple arrays, so those arrays must have similar type of elements. Okay, it's something you need to take care about. So just performing the addition operation, let me run the code, it will be easier to track. So if you want to add both of the arrays together, so 10 will be added with 1, 20 added with 2, 30 plus 3, 140 plus 4. This is what you will have in the resulting array. Now in the similar way, you can perform subtraction, multiplication, okay, and here is a subtraction value, multiplication value. Now this one here, dot. So matrix multiplication, the dot function can be operated on array 1 and dot product of the arrays. So something you don't have to be worried about writing or creating the logic. Just perform, there is a dot operation on the array, basically multiplying all the elements in the array or the matrix. um, so usually a multidimensional array can also be termed as matrix as well. So that dot function will be just able to pull up the information of the dot product of the 2 arrays. That should be it, 300. Now let's say you want to find out some array elements square root. So just use the square root function and it will give you the square root of the array 1, this one here. Now, if you want to find out the minimum, maximum of a particular array, so just use the array name and use the min function and max function like this. These are some of the useful applications using Numpy library. Last but not the least, one important function I am going to show you it here, arrange function of the Numpy library. So what it does actually, the arrange function is used in this way. Numpy, the library name, and it's not double R, it's single R, dot arrange. And it usually returns evenly spaced values within a given interval. So what is that again? So before going into syntax, okay, uh, if you want to know the syntax of this, I'm not going to run it actually, just wanted to show you how we can use range, how we can use this syntax actually. Bracket, um, then there should be a starting index point, comma, then one stop index point, and if you want to step into next number in the series in the array, then you can use one increment index as well if you need to. It's not mandatory. And there is another one, d type. So d type is the type of the output array. So if the d type is not given, so infer the data type from the other input arguments. It's not mandatory though. Okay.